Do you love hitting the ball hard, but you can't hit the ball hard and in? It's very sporadic when you do try to accelerate and hit the ball hard. Well, I'm going to show you how to hit more of those balls in the court, hitting it hard, but in a way you're not really expecting, which is, can you hit the ball slow? Because by learning to hit the ball slow, you'll learn how to hit the ball hard and in more. And so if you want to know how to do that, make sure you keep watching this video. So you're probably thinking like, what are you talking about? Yeah, I want to learn how to hit the ball harder, which means I got to accelerate more, which means I got to use my body, which means, I got to be able to like control my racket face. That's all really important. And if you need to know how to do that, make sure you check out one of these videos somewhere around here because it'll go through that. But more importantly than all of that, you need to have control. And you might be thinking like, oh, well, I've watched one of your videos where you said control's about the racket face. It is about the racket face, but there's another element that could accelerate your control, not only when you're hitting slow, which is important, but also when you're hitting fast, which is really important. Because you got to understand, when you're hitting a tennis ball and you try to accelerate or swing fast, you're basically magnifying whatever happens. Meaning that if you hit the ball and you have that perfect rack face and everything's right, you look like a world-class player. You're out there just crushing forehands. But if you're a tiny bit off, that ball is going well over the fence and you have no clue how to get it back in. So what's the thing? How can I start hitting the ball harder and still make more? Well, the thing is this. Most recreational players hate this part of the court. And if you don't, good job, kudos to you. What I mean by this is what I see when a lot of recreational players come out and they're trying to warm up is they start off short court. And this is kind of how it usually works out. They walk out, they have their chat, they come out short court and they feed a ball and you see this. You see tightness, you see slices. They hit one or two balls, nothing goes inside the service line, and then they run back to the baseline because they feel like I have more space. So it looks like this. You come out here and you're ready, hey, let's hit, and the ball comes out, and then you're like, okay, short court, not my favorite, I'm really tight, and then as the ball comes out and you hit it, you do that, and you realize that I barely got the ball in. This short court thing's really tough. Or you do this, which isn't a bad thing, but it's not done because you have control over the ball. And then you try to do your normal swing, you're like, oh shoot, the ball went too far. So you kind of panic and you're like, I'll just kind of stiffly and grip the racket really tight. Oh, okay, let's go back to the baseline because this feels really uncomfortable. And really what this is telling you is you don't have control over the racket. And it's a false sense when you go back to the baseline because you're like, yeah, I'm getting more balls in. Of course, that short court thing is obviously not meant for really good players. I need to be back in the baseline so I have more court to work with. And I even talk to students about this. I'm like, no, I need to go back to the baseline. I'm not getting the ball in. I need to get the ball in, so I need more space. Really what's happening is you don't have control. And so now when you're on the baseline, yeah, you make more balls because you have more area to hit into. But really, it's a little lie that you're telling yourself to make you feel better about not having to do up here. But if you watch the pros, what do you see them do? A lot of times they come out and they can sit here all day long doing their full swing, hitting every ball inside the service line, or even shorter than the service line, a couple feet past the net, no problem. Then they go back to the baseline and they're crushing balls. There's a sneaky key that you have to realize. Is because if you can control what's happening here under very slow speeds, which means you have to really manage the racket face, then when you go back at the baseline, guess what? You just get more court to have more control. But if you can't control the ball in this little area, meaning that as we're swinging, doing your normal full swing and getting the ball into the service line, you don't have any control. And the way you're masking that is going back to the baseline. I know it hurts, but here's the thing. If you can learn how to do this, which I'm going to show you, you will have more control, which adds to when you go back to the baseline, you will feel the ball better and you can control it better even under higher speeds or more acceleration. Because that's the problem. When you start accelerating, you don't feel or have the control. And so either another mask is hitting a lot of topspin. I see this so much. You don't see pros out there like muscling the ball over because they're trying to make sure they bathe the ball with enough topspin to go in. But then you get that other problem. It's like, I got topspin, but I don't have drive. But when you have control, you can have both or either one based on the situation. So let's get started. How do we start to have control, Kevin? I'm going to take you through a series of micro drills about how to do this. First thing you have to realize is, like I've talked about before, is the racket face is so important. Meaning if my racket face is closed at contact, the ball's going to go in the net. my racket face is open, in general, the ball's gonna go high. I know a lot of people are like, well, you know, I see some people and the racket face is slightly closed. Well, yeah, if they're swinging super fast, they can get away with that. And there's some issues with when the ball bounces. Are they taking it off the bounce, which changes the, I think it's called the angle of ascent. I've done some research on this. Or if they're taking it as the ball comes up and it's more a level hit. In general, when it's more of a level hit, meaning the ball comes up, it's kind of in this apex of the bounce, if you have the racket face, it's gonna send the ball where you want. The key to understanding the racket face and how it controls the ball is thinking about it still makes an adjustment. Maybe it's not the exact adjustment you're thinking, like, oh, my racket face is like this, but the ball still went in. Well, probably if it's like that, it's not gonna go in. But as long as you're adjusting the racket face and understand that, that's what you wanna do. And you wanna start connecting that with where the ball's landing. So here's the drill. You need to swing as slow as possible and still get the ball in the service line. So I'm gonna grab a couple balls really quick and I'm gonna do some hand-fed balls to myself to show you what I mean. So now I have a couple balls and this is what I want you to do. I want you to practice first a couple shadow swings. Now here's the thing, for some of you players out there, you're gonna go, oh yeah, no problem. I'm just gonna hit a lot of topspin like that. Well, really, you do in a sense have some feel because the ball's staying a little bit longer on the strings because you're brushing it and you feel that sensation of creating spin, but I don't want that. Right now, I want it just to be a normal swing without adding a ton of heavy topspin. So I'm gonna go through my swing just like this, and I'm gonna swing probably about this slow. You're like, what? Okay, so this is probably what's gonna happen if you go out and try this. I swing slow, the ball in the net. Kevin, I swung slow though. Why did it go in the net? It's because of the racket face. So the thing that most players do when that happens is they swing the exact same way. They just swing faster. And the ball goes in, then like, yay, problem solved. Ball went in, I swung faster, went deeper. But it's really masking what you're lacking, which is more control. And so I'm gonna swing the same way before, but I'm gonna open the racket face a little bit more. Boom. So the only difference between this last ball I hit and the ball that went in the net is the racket face. Instead of thinking swing faster, we'll get to swing faster. I know that's what you're here for. But you have to be able to master this, so when you go back, you can start swinging faster and having more control. So all I want you to do is grab a bunch of balls, swing very slow, see how slow you can get it, and making sure that when I'm swinging, I'm finishing my follow through. When I'm doing this, I'm very relaxed. It's so important that you're very relaxed doing this. I'm not going, okay, it worked, or if it went in, it worked. That's very tight, and you're just shoving the ball. What I really want is this. Okay? There's no interruption at contact. There's no hitting and getting tight. There's smoothness and relaxation. We'll do a couple more. Again. So that means, if that happens, open the racket face a little bit more. And look where my ball's landing. It's only a couple feet inside the service line. It's not like close where I'm hitting the ball too hard. Like if I start swinging a little harder, well, ooh, that hit the line. I would prefer for the first couple, especially when you're drop feeding and you get to control the ball coming, you get the ball to land almost halfway between the baseline and service line. And this is so crucial. Tinker around with the racket face. If it starts going too high, like this, even though that's in, close the racket face a little bit and be really soft, okay? And making sure that you're finishing your follow through. The next thing is I want you to either get a partner or you can have a ball machine. Okay? I don't really recommend you doing this on the wall because a lot of times you won't get that same sensation of having to move. Now it's really, really important that when we're doing this, we focus on not stopping our swing at contact, but we keep the same level of racketed speed. And in this case, it's very slow. And it's so important because the slower you can be, you get a chance to feel the ball in the strings, you get a chance to really educate your hand on what the racket face needs to be to get the ball to do what you want. And that is where you start developing this feel for the ball. And the more feel for the ball you have, guess what? When you start to swing faster and you're gonna magnify what's going on by adding more pace, you're gonna have a better sense and feel for the ball compared to if you didn't. Because so many players, what they do is grip it and rip it. They grip hard and rip hard, but they don't really have control. And so as the ball starts coming out, and this ball machine actually has a lot of spin on it, so I'm having to really almost absorb a little bit of the pace, just like that. And noticing even when this ball's coming fast, boom, I'm keeping my swing under control, okay? Because if I were to swing a little faster, the ball would sail long. And so what I want to do is really get in the habit of just slowly keeping my swing. And if you find that the ball goes in the net, that just means open your racket face. So if I open my racket face, it's going to go higher. But then if I open it too much, you see how it sails, then make that adjustment. You're creating this connection between your hand and what the ball is doing. So that's a little deeper. I'm going to swing softer and really close the racket face just a tiny bit. And a little bit goes a long way. And you'll find it feels boring, but the better you can do this, especially with a partner, the better you're going to be, because you're going to start developing more control. Now, this is the other thing I want to tell you, because as you start to wanting to ramp up and hit, there's some important thing you have to understand, which is, in general, the faster our feet and body moves, the faster our hands want to move. So what I want you to do is maybe go out with a partner or have a ball machine move you a little bit and still go to the ball fast, but swing under control. That would be the second drill, where you're going to the ball fast and swing under control. After you've done these drills and you feel like you can move to the ball and you can still keep the ball on the service line, now we get to have a little bit of fun, which is starting to recognize that I just need to add some acceleration the right way and control my hands at contact, because my body's in charge of creating the acceleration and my hand is in charge of directing where the ball goes. Okay, so now I'm going to start accelerating a little bit more and just managing my racket face, controlling it. And if you ever, or you need to understand how to use your body the right way, make sure you go watch this video, because it'll help you and explain to you exactly how to use your body. But make sure you only do that after finishing this video. So now I'm going to have the ball machine shoot me balls, and I'm going to accelerate a lot more, meaning I'm going to use my body to generate the racket head speed I want, and then making sure my hand is doing the exact same thing. Because my hand's going to be relaxed, it's going to be in control of the racket face, and if I ever start making balls or missing balls, I'll just adjust the racket face. So now I'm just going to really start ramping up my racket at speed. I'll start off with one, nice and easy like I was doing, and then what's going to happen is now I'll start accelerating and keeping the relaxation in my hands, okay? And the more relaxed I am when the ball comes out, the better. Because I'm using all that racket head speed now and just directing it where I want the ball to go. And now you can see how the pros can control where the ball goes at a high rate of speed, because they have control. If you can't do that, going back to the baseline, you're just masking what you don't have the feel for. And then when you add acceleration, balls are going to fly everywhere. So now that you have this, the very next thing you need to understand is technique. If you can control the ball and feel the ball, you need better technique, meaning how we use the body and accelerate the right way. And this video is going to show you exactly how to do that.